Welcome back, viewers, to another thrilling episode of A Talk of Ice and Fire. Today we're going to talk about the best episode of the season called Dance of Dragons.
I disagree. I think Hard Home was better.
You shut your face.
That. Okay, so episode 9, they have primarily for each season of Game of Thrones been the big, giant episode. I mean, obviously with season 3 we had the Red Wedding, we had a big battle at the Wall last season. You know, I mean, Ned dying, we had Blackwater. So, I mean, all of these episode 9s have been amazing throughout the series. This one, I felt like it was underwhelming just compared to Hard Home for me.
So you're saying that they should have made Hard Home episode 9 and made the events in episode 8?
I think so. I think that they could have... There's a way I think they could have combined these two episodes and had some of the minor events that took place happen in episode 8, and then some of the bigger events.
It would have been interesting. It would have been awful episode 8, and then maybe an amazing episode 9.
Exactly.
With Hard Home and Dany, the arena battle with the dragons. Although, I don't know how you would have, like... Man, that was a creative battle, and then now it's Hard Home. There's too much. I
don't think two battle set pieces in the same episode really work together.
I mean, it was an amazing episode. The set piece, you know, was the Colosseum was fantastic. It was cool. It looked like it cost a lot of money to make. I mean, but other than that, I just felt like the fight scenes felt a lot like they did in Dorne for me. Like, especially once they're all circled together, it just felt like it was a lot of one-on-one fights instead of people swarming and just all like chaos and stabbing each other like we've been kind of expecting from these big battles.
We've been saying this the entire season, that the battle sequences and fight sequences have been a little weird, oddly paced. That was definitely the case here. During the gladiator fights, it was a little more even. But then once it started breaking loose, it felt odd. Like, why are they just attacking one at a time? Mm-hmm. It was odd to me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I felt that it was a little bit more natural, or it felt a little more authentic this time, because I get the sense that, like, especially at the end where they're kind of circling around them and they're kind of trying to, because they are well defended, you know, they're like, well, they're going to kill us, and with Dario and Jorah, like, they were attacking, so I felt like the Harpies were like, you know, we're getting killed, we can't just, like, be stupid about this. Mm-hmm. But it brings into the greater kind of issue I maybe had with it overall, is that we've seen the Harpies, it's a threat that we've seen before, and in the same way before. Like, it mirrored the Jorah, or not the Jorah, the Selmy, Barris and Selmy. Selma with Martin Luther King Jr.
Actually,
the Dothraki.
I never made the comparison, but you're right. There's a lot of parallels.
That just felt similar to that fight in the same way of these, surprise, where you have people's secret. The other thing too is, like, I mean, I get the impression that these Sons of the Harpies were more just like kind of terrorist cell. Like, is it like half the population of the city?
I guess so. We never know.
And they're still destroying the Unsullied. It's like these Unsullied are like, you did not get your money worth, even though you betrayed the guy and killed him. You paid too much for him. Like, they're just getting slaughtered by random fat people.
Well, I guess the question that Tyrion posed last episode to Dany is like, why not stay in Meereen? You're doing good here. The common folk seem to like you. Obviously, this is a sign you got to get out. Like, Meereen is not the place for you. Just head over to Westeros. It can't be worse than everyone trying to assassinate you all the time. If anything, it's probably just going to be equivalent. Just different types of people trying to kill you all the time.
I mean, I did think the set piece itself and the whole scene was cool, but I like how at the end they focus on the remaining guys, because to me that's the more interesting, like, oh, wait, what do we do now? Like, I'm Tyrion, I'm just a guy no one knows about. I'm Jorah, no one cares about me. I'm Dario, like, are we supposed to rule the city now? Like, what do we do?
Well, they all kind of put all of their hopes and dreams into Dany, and if she's gone, it's like, what do I do? Yeah. It's like when every time you leave your house and, like, your dog is just sitting there looking at you in the window, and it's like, well, what do I do? Yeah. I don't know what to do anymore.
Right. But it was really satisfying when Drogon just basically decimated. Like, that was just so, just like, because the Sons of the Harpy is, I think, kind of like one-dimensional, the enemy is. Yeah. It's still fun to just see them get destroyed. Like, that's so satisfying. Like, I don't care if they're mentally destroyed or not. I just want to see them ripped in pieces and burned alive.
That was pretty good. Yeah. I kind of was hoping that Drogon was going to be more, like, I thought he was going to be bigger, first off, because he seemed bigger in the beginning of the season. And also, the blast radius of his fire I wanted it to be better. It seemed
I
like
thought
it
he was
only-
gonna do like a sweep, like flying attack, and just like burn
destroy
half
the
of them.
stadium.
Ah, that'd have been cool. And then burn half the audience. Like, oh yeah, you're here. Oh wait, ooh. Ugh.
Wait, how did he know exactly who to attack? Why doesn't he just start ripping people to shreds? That would have been
To
great.
shreds, you
Yeah, the
say.
golden masks are delicious.
Okay,
Yeah.
wait, also, when she was, I think this could be misinterpreted, when she was holding Missandei's hand and she was like, kind of just like, I don't know, meditating, didn't it almost seem like she was summoning Drogon?
Yeah,
It's like,
she
wait a
was. I thought
minute.
she summoned some dragons.
Like I felt like they kind of as creator, not sure, you know, whatever director, like, okay, we need to part where this battle turns. We don't have any good thing. Okay, close your eyes, Danny. We're just focus on your. Like I felt like they needed a beat there, and they didn't know what to put in there. So we'll just have you close your eyes.
It was just like in Lord of the Rings when the eagles show up.
Yeah, it kind of was
You
a
know,
little bit.
a little bit.
Like it was like it'd be one thing if maybe she was like accepting, like, okay, I'm gonna die. I didn't get the sense from that.
No.
Like, was she? Like,
To me, she had intent. Like she was
but
actually.
it was like, is she supposed to? And if that's the case, yeah, you're like you said, it may be misinterpreted.
Yeah.
But it was heavily implied in that case. It's like, if that's true,
A
No,
good
I know
way
what
to
you
close
mean.
out my like kind of feelings on this fight is that if you just look at it straight up compared to Hardhome, this fight, it was very clear who the enemies were and who the good guys were. There was a big circle and it showed it. But in Hardhome, they looked exactly the same, but you know, the zombies and the wildlings are dressed exactly the same. They're the same people. They're fighting each other. The battle is just so chaotic. You don't know who's good, you don't know who's bad. And so it feels like you're in the midst of the fight. In this one, it felt like you're watching a movie. And that's kind of, I don't like that.
I mean, I liked it probably more than you. I do agree that it was a hard follow-up to Hardhome because that is probably one of the best episodes of the series. And probably the best battle, like just, you know, if not the best, then one of the best. So I think it partially suffers because we're comparing it to that. I think maybe if that episode wasn't there, you know, maybe you would have a different opinion. I would give it an 8.5. The battle in the arena.
It gets a B+, I guess.
Yeah.
Hardhome was an A+. Okay, well, let's talk about the rest of the episode, because other things technically did happen. And one very
And
horrible...
actually, not even just technically.
Technically, they happened. Okay,
Things
guys.
happened.
Okay, what about the
about-
fact Stannis is a good guy, right? He's
What
good.
a just a
I can't
great
wait to see
guy.
him.
Father of the
Be
Year
the
award.
true king of Westeros. Well, that's a shocker because that's obviously a departure from the books. So for us who have read the books, we're not expecting that. But even if it was in the books, it was still sucky.
Horrible. I mean, you already brought your daughter into technically what's going to be a war zone. Like, odds are everyone is going to die if you don't let this Red Priestess do her thing, which obviously has worked before. You know that her magic works. So it's like, well, let everybody die, or I have to give up my daughter. I mean, I get it's a horrible choice to make, but I think Stannis made technically the right choice.
Think you could say like, look,
there's a
I'm
right
sorry
choice.
I brought you along with me. You might die anyway, so might as well kill you. I don't think that's how it went. I don't think that's a good excuse. Also, I don't really think that's why he necessarily brought her. I think Melisandre may have said, "Hey, bring her. We might need to kill her."
Melisandre.
Melisandre, I think. So.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they did a good job, I think, with this character this whole season because they set it up earlier with the scenes between them and stuff. And so there was always kind of that question of like, oh, he is a good father, or wait, is he just kind of all about the duty that he has and this idea that he's destined and his kind of fate of honor and whether he wants it or not. So I thought that was interesting, and I like what they did with it. But just in terms of the characters, I'm just not as attached to Stannis, right? It was interesting the Davos scene, right? I was more because Davos obviously knew what was going to happen. And so the scene before, it was just like, was he just like I didn't get a sense of like, I'm going to see you for the last time, Shireen. Like, I don't know, maybe there was, but it was just so, and it was a really interesting scene, I felt.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, their bond was that was like one of the true actual friendships between any two characters in the entire show.
Yeah.
So we really care about their relationship. And you're right, it didn't feel like, because in my head I'm thinking like maybe he's excusing himself. He's saying like, well, he may not do it. He may not go with it.
Yeah.
So by removing myself from the situation, I'm kind of washing my hands of it.
Yes, he is.
I mean, and we know obviously that Stannis tells him to go because he doesn't want a repeat of Gendry, right?
Yeah.
So he tells
That's
him
what
to
I'm
get out of
saying.
here.
So Davos is obviously smart enough. He knows
Yeah,
what's
he
going to
knows.
happen. So, but the scene with Shireen, it was just it was strange because it felt like he I don't know. Like, he didn't know what was going to happen or something.
I also don't know what it's going to mean for Stannis. Sacrificing his daughter, obviously she does have king's blood. What sort of advantage is this going to give him?
We see in the previews that the snow is melting, allowing them to proceed forward to Winterfell.
So,
I think it took probably a bigger toll on his troops. I wish they showed more of that. You see, there was like one guy who's like, I don't know about this. I wish they showed everyone being oh, this is our leader? I don't know. Like, is this worth it, guys?
I did.
As a troop, I would be like, no, this is not my king.
Is the way they did it, like, do we have to do it in front of everyone?
Yeah, like, why? Because they didn't do that with, the other...
Dreams.
Yeah,
it's like Melisandre, you didn't tell me everyone's gonna be here. Oh, dude.
I guess my only... If it was them, they know that, he's technically doing it for them. So,
Well, do they?
I hope so. He's like, guys, I did this... Well,
what do you mean? You just killed your daughter! How's that for us, dear God? What have I done?
Does this mean that I kind of killed your daughter? Oh, no.
Do his troops know that he's in the employ of dark magics?
No,
I don't
that's
think
what I'm saying. I don't think anyone... They're like, his troops are like, yep, we don't mind just using evil baby shadows to murder people.
Yeah.
I think they got to know something. I don't know.
Well, okay, that all aside, I did like the kind of arcing idea of like choosing sides that he has with Shireen before he murders her. But because you see that kind of effectively play out kind of in the other stories, and you see, I don't remember her name, but going into Dorne, you see what's her name finally have to choose, like I could die or I could pledge allegiance or whatever. So, and she has to choose a side, right? Mm-hmm. So I kind of like that. I still don't like the Dorne like that. I felt like I hope there's a better payoff next episode for this whole little unnecessary charade we call a storyline down in Dorne.
Prince Doran I think he oversold it. He's like, look, we don't want any fighting. We're good. Hey guys, you did something bad. He's like, all hail Prince Tom, and Prince Tom is the greatest thing ever. Obviously, there's some BS in that, right? There has to be.
I agree, but I felt like they could have, hinted at that better. There could have been a scene with him and his sister, or I don't remember. I keep forgetting. What are you supposed to name? Juju.
Alaria,
Princess Alaria. There could have been when she finally pledges allegiance, and he's like, "I don't forgive a third time." It's like, "Oh, okay, you're tough. Yeah, we don't care about that. Show us your plan. Like, give a sign that, like, okay, now that I could trust you. Here's my plan." Dun dun dun. Fade to black. Next scene. You know what I mean? Then it's like, oh, there's something coming. I felt like
I don't know that he needs to be like a maniacal villain.
No, not like that.
Here's my plan.
No, like that. Not
he can at least give her like a little wink, like.
Yeah. All of these are perfect examples.
If you guys watch the same show that I have, they don't do these things.
No, yeah, remember that?
I'm hyperbolizing, which is also not a word, but I'm exaggerating to show the point. But you know what I mean, right? They could have hinted at some leeway into like he has something going on beyond peace and happiness and snakes. Oh man, I don't know if there's more annoying characters in that
I would say that like if you combined all three of them, you'd be kind of like a Jar Jar Binks. Like it's just like all three of them have different sides of Jar Jar. Yeah. So it's like one of them.
To see when Jar Jar gets naked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say a topless Jar Jar Binks.
Okay, ultimately I think this episode was a really good episode. I think it doesn't quite measure up to last episode. But
previous seasons,
season 9. But I think overall, compared to the rest of this season, it was better than most.
That's not a yum chunk. And cut to black.
What?
It's not a yum chunk. What is a yum chunk?
Like we are the equivalent to vomit for the internet.